Taurus, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for April 18th through the 24th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, Taurus, so this week we have a lot going on. We have the sun shifting into Aries, your 12th house. We've got a full moon in Virgo, your 5th. We've got a lot of aspects with your ruler Venus, in fact, and that'll probably take the forefront of the week. But before we look at the whole week, I do want to start by looking at where we're coming from the previous weekend. We recently had Mars retrograde, and then we're going to have Pluto going station retrograde here on Monday. So there's a lot of this reflection going on, and I think for you guys, it's specifically involving relationships. You've already been reflecting on them, I think, with Saturn retrograde. But now with Mars, the actual ruler of your 7th house retrograde here, I think you'll find that there's perhaps some things that you can be learning at the moment. This is going to be all the way up and through the end of June regarding relationships, to try new things, to see things in a new perspective. And this is also involving, too, your spiritual alone time, which is going to be a big area of emphasis. But Mars retrograde is suggesting a good time to reflect on that as well, where you can have more spiritual peace in your life, more acceptance, right? And it all comes from letting go of and relating through relationships. I think right now there's like this dual energy about it. One is about letting go of something in terms of specific thing in relationship, or it could be just some perspective or having more acceptance. But that's the 12th house kind of energy, is letting go. And then also learning more about relating, how you relate with others and that kind of thing. All right, so that's going to be an ongoing theme, but I did want to mention that there is that shift from the previous weekend. Now, in terms of Pluto in that station, I think you guys are going to be reflecting on relationships with this too, because Pluto is in your, or is the ruler of your 7th house. But there is this reflection in terms specifically with intimacy, I feel like, and that openness and vulnerability and transparency, which is this 8th house. Maybe even too, for those of you involved with shared resources, could be reflecting on that in your life in some sense. But for all of you too, it's good to kind of go within in terms of where there might be some fears, might be some attachments, both in the relationship side of things and the intimate side of things, and do that acceptance work, the inner exploration. This isn't a major thing. This happens once a year, and it's for about half the year Pluto's retrograde. So for the next 6 months, it's a good time to just reflect on these intimacy matters where you can transform and change, because that's what Pluto's been showing you, is how to release all these attachments, these old patterns in your life that are no longer serving you. Now, your ruler forming a lot of aspects starting on Monday, trining up to Saturn. You guys could be feeling quite grounded, perhaps on Monday, but this is all for you to be developing yourself, I feel like. It's a good day for self-development. It's a good day for developing your routine as well, since Venus rules that 6th of yours. Maybe even your work. Could be quite grounded in your work on Monday. And the big picture with all of this, with your ruler in the 11th house, is that this is all for you to pursue and work on your ideals at the moment. 11th house is your hopes and wishes, your ideals. For some of you, perhaps networking, connecting with friends, or being a part of things larger than self, right? Or networking, whatever it might be there with that 11th house. But generally, just continuing to work on and pursue your ideals, which I think is going to continue to be the emphasis. Now, the transformation of it is going to be specifically on Tuesday, when your ruler squares up to Pluto. So with this one, it's a good time for you guys to have a bit of a detached perspective, especially with the ego, especially with what you want, what you're driven for, probably in the area of those ideals. And just be willing to transform, be willing to change, right? Be willing to change your routine as well and your work environment, okay? Because usually the case with the square from Pluto is that we need to draw some line in the sand. Something needs to be changed, but we want to make sure we're coming from presence, we're coming from our true essence, and it's not just something that we're, really headstrong about, really moving forward towards without actually considering whether it's something that we truly want. All right, so the key with all Pluto is to have detachment. So detachment of self, detachment of your drives, maybe even of your work around Tuesday. And then in that way, it'll help see the clarity of what might really need to change with this. And it might be, again, very deep. It's very psychological, usually with Pluto. and being just willing to change your perspective and release old patterns, I think will be key around this time. Now, about midweek, we'll start to feel the sun shifting into Aries, which will be your 12th house. And so I think you've already been thinking about and actually learning quite a bit about spiritual peace or alone time, and maybe your deep psyche, maybe dreams and things like that. But now your sun comes in here, so your focus, I think, is going to shift to that alone time, that spiritual peace. And I think you can enjoy it quite a bit, actually, for about the next month with the sun here. So it's a good time to kind of retreat a little bit, to rest up, because in about a month, your sun's going to go into your sign, and that's going to be a much more energetic time. But this is the part of the year for you to get that R&R. And that emphasis about learning, too, is going to be emphasized on Thursday when the North Node trines up to that Mercury in that first house. Okay, so I think you'll be learning quite a bit about not only the spiritual stuff and your spiritual self, but what you value in life, and probably quite a bit, too, in terms of your self-expression. Maybe what are your interests and passions? It's not a major aspect, but it's something to definitely consider with that North Node. Now this goes on to the full moon, which will be on Thursday night, Friday morning. And so there is this continued cultivation. This is another full moon in Virgo, so a continued cultivation of your self-expression. And this is so you can enjoy your self-expression, enjoy your interests, the more lighthearted aspects of life. So there's a lot of insight being revealed at this time in terms of how you can continue to cultivate that. Because the Earth is opposite the sun, so the Earth is actually transiting through Virgo at the moment, your 5th house. So it's a good time to cultivate, to nurture, to foster your self-expression and your passions and enjoyments. And I think around this later part of the week, there'll be some insights in regards to that. Now the week ends with Venus conjoining up to Uranus going into the weekend. So there is this bit of freeing up energy by the end of the week where you guys, I think, are just feeling more free, more individualistic, which is great. Maybe some new opportunities with some of these ideals or these network things. And also, too, with your routine in some sense, maybe mixing something up with that. But all in all, I think over the weekend, it's just a good time to try new things, to mix things up, mix up that daily routine, be yourself, express yourself, tap into that unique spark that you are. And in that, I think it can be exciting. And depending on your personal charts, maybe some new opportunities to work on some new goals or new opportunity or something involving those ideals. All right, Taurus, so have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.